It's a good question. What duties do I have as a priest? I oversee a community, so it is my job to actually give Dharma teachings, lectures. We call them Dharma talks. I oversee our liturgical services on Sundays and the other ones throughout the week, much like a priest does at Mass. So I do house blessings, I do weddings, funerals, everything that the regular priest in the Catholic community would do, including overseeing things like the spiritual development of my community and my students. So I do counseling, I teach classes, of course I do outreach like this, or PR, I guess, public relations.
Clear your house, please report to Mr. Cutcherson's office. Now, clear to Mr. K's office.
But my duties are full-time, so I'm always in the doing something for our community or other organizations. Hope that's clear, yeah? Yes?
How does being a Buddhist priest affect what many Americans would consider a traditional lifestyle, just like an American life? Obviously, this doesn't mean too much because there's so much diversity in America, but it's kind of maybe say compared to people like us, people like a lot of our families, what you maybe think our families are like. How does that be different for us to be a Buddhist? What does it mean to you?
Well, if you're ordained, of course, you have a lot more, I don't want to use the word restriction, but that's how it would look to you guys. It's very, very disciplined. We have a lot of vows that we have to uphold. Now, because I'm not, I do have a wife, I am allowed to have a family, but even in that, everything within the family unit and the way that we behave socially as householders, which is what we call it, is all under scrutiny of vows. So we don't have the same liberties, where our diets are restricted, our behaviors are highly disciplined. So, in fact, our lifestyles become part of the practice. So we engage everything as practice. Our inner relationship with our spouses is all done as a point of reference of practice. Not so much of this person's here to entertain me, or this is my companion, or something like that, but it's all entirely about practice. So it's a 24/7, always trying to be aware. Take a vacation from that is, you jump in the shower or something. But otherwise, everything that you engage in is always about the practice.
What does nirvana mean to you?
What does nirvana mean to me? That's very good. Well, traditionally what nirvana means is actually a liberation of our own personal suffering. What that really means is that we overcome the impulses that we have based on emotions and based on our habitual patterns that always lead us to suffering. So, in other words, nirvana is a freedom from emotionalism. Most of the time we engage the world, whether it's our family members, strangers, people that we work for, we're always engaged from a point of reference of ourself. And whatever emotions arise, we tend to view the world tainted by that emotion. So most of the time we don't have a full grasp of what's going on around us because we only have our perspective based on our emotion. I don't like that. I don't like this food. I don't like the smell of that. I don't like this kind of community. And so we taint everything from that perspective of I don't like. But it narrows our view. So what nirvana really is it's the first level of liberation where we separate ourselves from that emotionalism. It's not enlightenment. Nirvana is not enlightenment from the Buddhist perspective. And it's actually the first stage of accomplishment. We call it the Arhat path. I don't know if you guys are talking about the three vehicles.
No.
Okay. There's 3 primary stages. The first is all about moral discipline. Actually, the Buddha taught 20 years on moral discipline before he moved on to the other levels. The other ones are more of the compassion and loving kindness towards others, and then the last is the yogas, the tantras. That's what the Vajrayana or Tibetan Buddhism is based on. So nirvana is that first step in discipline.